All right, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. We're going to be just a moment or two as we wait for a few more people to join. So yeah, please just settle in. This is going to be a really great next hour just with a lot of information about the University of Calgary. We will cover a number of different topics, things like the admission requirements, programs, scholarships, and so much more. So really looking forward to spending this time with you. While we are waiting, perhaps I will just go ahead and launch our first poll. So basically, I just need to know if you can see and hear the presentation. So you should see a screen that says the webinar will begin shortly. If you are able to see that, if you wouldn't mind selecting yes. And if you're having any issues, let's just maybe try and troubleshoot those in the chat. Okay, and I'm sorry, I think I might have accidentally forgot to launch the poll, so you should be able to see it now. I'm just going to give about 10 seconds for you guys to answer that, and then we can go ahead and get started. Okay, perfect. So it looks like we are all good. So without further ado, let's just get going with the presentation. Actually, before we do that, if you wouldn't mind just giving the QR code on this slide a quick scan. The other option is that my coworker Cynthia can always link the form to this lead capture form into the chat. Basically, by scanning this or going to the link that Cynthia will share, it's just going to basically add you to my my contact list, and essentially that's going to be a way that we can stay in touch throughout this upcoming application cycle. So if you are interested in learning more about the University of Calgary, I would just recommend that you scan that, fill out the information, and you'll be able to stay connected with me quite easily. All right, so everyone, hello. Thank you so much for joining. Good morning from Canada. I'm quite sure it's evening where all of you are. My name is Michaela Tamagi, and I am the University of Calgary Student Recruitment Advisor for students living in the Middle East. So if any questions at all today, please feel free to put those directly into the chat. My coworker Cynthia is here, and she is more than happy to answer your questions. If you wanted to save the questions until the end as well, we can also address those then. I mentioned this before, but today we will be covering a number of topics. So things like what the University of Calgary campus is like, our academics, our admission requirements, scholarships, and much more. So if any questions at all about those things, just note that we're probably going to be covering those things in much detail throughout the presentation. All right, so before we dive into the specifics of what the University of Calgary has to offer, I thought it would just be nice to spend a couple of moments learning a bit about where we're located. So starting off with the wonderful country of Canada. Chances are if you are here, you've probably considered studying in Canada before. It's a really amazing country for a variety of reasons. It has been ranked the #1 country for quality of life in the entire world, and I think that is largely due to the fact that we are such a safe, stable, and friendly country. Canada has some really great advantages for international students as well. So one of those great advantages being that if you are a full-time student on a valid study permit, you can work for up to 20 hours per week, and that could be on or off campus. And then if you are a graduate from a post-secondary institution in Canada, you're eligible to receive a work permit to stay in the country for up to 3 more years. So that can be a really nice thing to consider, especially if you are a student who is looking to make a more permanent transition abroad. Another thing that I'll just mention is that we do accept many international students as an institution, but also as a country. So in 2020, there was actually over 500,000 international students that came to Canada. All right, so here we have a map showing where Calgary is in relation to a number of the other major cities throughout the country. A fun fact that I like to share is that, well, actually, let's just get you guys to see if you know. I wanted to see if you maybe had an idea of what the driving distance is between Calgary and Toronto. Yeah, so you should see a poll. I'm curious if you think it's 12 hours, 6 hours, 48 hours, or 30 minutes. So on this, you'll see Calgary, and then on the east side of the country, you're going to see Toronto. So yeah, curious to see what you guys think, or if you have any guesses. No guess is silly, so don't worry. Just going to give about 10 seconds for that. Okay, perfect. So it looks like you guys are right. The correct answer is that it takes about 48 hours. So that's around 4 days of driving to get from Calgary to Toronto. So it is a very, very big country. We are the second largest geographic country in the entire world. If you're looking to get from Calgary to Vancouver, that's more like a 12-hour drive. If driving's not really your thing, then don't worry, there's also lots of flights that leave all the time. And so if you're interested in seeing other parts of the country, that's definitely possible while you're here. All right, so looking at Alberta specifically, Alberta is the province that the University of Calgary is located. It is one of 10 Canadian provinces. Some things to note about Alberta: it is the only Canadian province that does not have a provincial sales tax. This, coupled with the fact that there is a very high minimum wage, means that the cost of living is relatively affordable, and your money is going to go a lot further because people on average are making more money here. It's a province that is absolutely packed full of things to see and do. So some great examples would include all of the adventures that the incredible Rocky Mountains have to offer. If you're not familiar with the Rocky Mountains, those are the mountains that are pictured on the right-hand side of the slide. You can do things like snowboard, ski, hike, camp, and a whole other array of things as well. The Rocky Mountains are only about an hour away from Calgary, so you get to enjoy those during your time with us. There's also a number of other great things to see and do. One that I'll mention is Drumheller Dinosaur Provincial Park. So this is about an hour east of the University of Calgary. It is a very different landscape, especially from the Rocky Mountains. It's almost a little bit like a different planet. But this park is basically famous for the fact that you can find a number of dinosaur bones and fossils within it. So there's also a really cool museum that kind of showcases the different dinosaurs that have been found within our province. All right, so moving on to the University of Calgary specific, or not, sorry, not the University of Calgary, the City of Calgary. The City of Calgary is a really amazing place to visit, and if you're lucky enough to do so, it's a really amazing place to call home as well. Calgary has been ranked the 5th most livable city in the entire world and the #1 most livable city in North America. I know for myself, the thing that has kept my interest over the many years that I've lived here is just the incredible lifestyle. So Calgary does host 9 of Canada's top 100 restaurants. It's home to a number of really incredible pathways, so you can bike or walk or do whatever you would like along our beautiful river. I think my most favorite thing about this city, though, is actually the weather. I know that sometimes our international students are a little bit worried about coming to Canada because they've heard some things about our winters and they're maybe a bit nervous about what that might be like. But I truly think that our weather is something that makes us really unique, and it makes it a really fun city to experience. You will experience 4 distinct seasons in Calgary. So we have spring, summer, winter, and fall. And every season has its own variety of activities. So in the winter months, again, you can do things like skating or sledding or skiing. And those are kind of really unique and fun things to try out if you've never seen or experienced snow. Regardless of the time of year, it is the sunniest major city in the entire country. I really think that sun helps to improve people's mental health, and it just makes it a really beautiful place as well. All right, so focusing in now on the University of Calgary itself. So for those of you who are not familiar with us, I think it's just worth noting that University of Calgary has been ranked within the top 250 institutions in the world. We are a research-focused institution, we're very entrepreneurial, and we're also very focused on experiential learning. So basically what it means to be a research-focused institution, essentially that means that within every program, you're going to find opportunities to conduct original research. It also means that all of the professors at our institution are going to be experts in their field, and so they will essentially be bringing you very timely information and things that are very relevant to our current day and age. University of Calgary is home to the dinos, so everybody that attends University of Calgary becomes a dino. This is our beloved mascot, and we just really believe in our institution and being essentially one big happy family. Here we have an aerial shot of the University of Calgary campus. So you can see that it is a very large campus. By Canadian standards, we are basically considered a large university. Our student population for undergraduate students, at least, is around 28,000. That might seem like a very large population, and of course it is. We do have all of the amenities to support that, though. But I always like to remind students that despite the fact that we're a large university, we really are able to maintain a small campus feel, and I'll get into the ways that we provide that in just a couple moments. Just taking a quick look at this map, though, this is basically where you would get to call home if you chose to study with us. Some of the incredible amenities that I want to draw your attention to include the Taylor Family Digital Library. Taylor Family Digital Library, otherwise known as TFDL, is our main campus library. It's also the most technologically advanced library in all of North America. So you'll find it nearly 8 million resources within this building, as well as some incredible study and collaboration spaces. And this is just one example of the amazing amenities that you get access to. If you are interested in learning a bit more about our amenities, or you wanted to get more of a 360 view of what some of these spaces look like, I would just encourage you to scan the QR code on the bottom right of the screen. And this is basically going to take you to a page where you can view some of those things. Just to give you a brief overview of some of the things that we have around our campus, just so you can kind of get a feel. There is a couple different shopping areas. There's also a mall. And a really great thing to note is that our campus is very well connected to our city transit system. So there is a train line, and there's also a bus loop that's going to take you to almost anywhere you need to go in the city. The transit pass that you would need to ride the buses or the train, that's going to be included within your student fees, and so you don't have to worry about paying anything extra to get around. All right, so before I transition now into just what our campus experience is like, I wanted to share a quick video. This video is called A Day in the Life of Bobby. Bobby is one of our students, and she's a really great example of someone who has really made University of Calgary her home and just taken full advantage of everything that we have to offer.
My name's Bobby Bedard. I'm from St. Bruce, Saskatchewan, and I study kinesiology at UCalgary. I live on campus in Cascade Hall. Well, I enjoy it because it's really close to classes and I'm close to the services that UCalgary has to offer. I spend a lot of time in the kinesiology building even when I'm not in class. I often study in the area overlooking the pool, and I exercise in the fitness center. My favorite classes involve learning about the body and human health, especially the hands-on labs. The profs in kinesiology are great. They go really into depth about the topics that are super interesting, and they're always ready to answer questions, and they have plenty of office hours to help out if you have anything you need. The faculty advisors in kinesiology have been really helpful. They provide information regarding which classes that I need to take and help me get enrolled in them. I came to UCalgary because the kinesiology faculty is highly rated, but I also came because of the city itself. One of my favorite things to do in the city is go to Princess Island Park when it's nice out and walk around and study. UCalgary also has a great sense of community. One of my favorite events is the Crowchild Classic hockey game between the UCalgary Dinos and the MRU Cougars, and they play at the Saddle Dome. I'd sum up my life at UCalgary as very busy but also very exciting. I think it's important to find a balance between school and the rest of your life.
Sorry about that. I think I was talking without the mic on, so sorry if I confused anybody. What I was saying, though, was that I hope that you enjoyed the video. I think Bobby is a really great example of someone who's made the most of her time at the University of Calgary. We have some really incredible ways to get involved on our campus, and I do want to share some of that with you right now. So I know for a lot of students, they often choose a university based on the academics that it offers. And while I would say that is a very good game plan, it's also a really good idea to consider the experiences that are available as well as what the campus community really feels like. These are the things that are going to make university a really memorable time. And so please just take that into account as you are making your decisions as far as where you're going to attend. So as far as the experience that we have here at University of Calgary, I do believe that it is an incredible one. I myself was a student, and I can say firsthand that I had so much fun during my time on campus. Bobby mentioned that there are a number of events throughout the year that students are welcome to participate in. So things like the Crow-Child Classic, that's a really good one to make note of. The Crow-Child Classic is basically going to be a big hockey game that happens every year between the Mount Royal Cougars and the University of Calgary Dinos. Super fun thing to attend if you wanted to show some school spirit. And you should also know that we do give away free tuition from time to time at events like these. There's also incredible ways to get involved in leadership and volunteering initiatives. And I think the number one thing that I want to highlight is really just our clubs program. So within our clubs program, there's actually over 300 student clubs. There's clubs for a variety of different things. So whether it is your academics, if you're interested in joining something related to the program that you're in, there's definitely options for that. If you're interested in joining a club that is based on an interest area of yours, we also have plenty of those available. So things like hiking club, photography, board games club, you name it, there's most likely a club for a variety of interest areas that you might have. There's also clubs for different religious and spirituality groups for students from various countries. So if you're at all worried about finding your group of people here at the University of Calgary, please don't worry, because we are going to find a way to get you connected and for you to start meeting like-minded people. Another really great way to get involved in our campus is to consider attending a Dinos game. So I mentioned earlier the Dinos are the University of Calgary, is essentially our mascot. So everybody that comes to the University of Calgary is a Dino. But in a different sense, the Dinos is also the name of all of our varsity sports teams. If you are interested in competing at a competitive level, so say you are a really good basketball player or soccer player, there's a variety of different teams that you can consider joining. And if you are interested in applying, please just go to godinos.com and you will be able to get connected to one of the coaches through that website. If you don't want to become a competitive athlete and you're more interested in just attending the games, I'll mention again that the Dinos games are free to attend as a student, and this is a really fun way just to show some school spirit and to get out and become involved in the University of Calgary community. Another really great way to get involved in our community is to get active. So we have a number of world-class amenities available here for students to enjoy. So things like an aquatic center, the Olympic Oval, the outdoor center. These are all available to you and are going to be really great ways for you to get fit and just to enjoy kind of an active lifestyle. The Olympic Oval is pictured here on the slide. I will mention this is North America's fastest ice surface. So if you are someone who wants to learn how to skate, or maybe skate as a way just to stay healthy, this is going to be a fun place to check out. If you're interested in participating in activities such as intramurals, sports fitness classes, we have all those types of things as well. And those can be another really great way to start making some friends and just to enroll in some things that are going to give you a break from your studies. If you're looking to make University of Calgary even more of a home, you may want to consider living on campus with us. So here on campus, we have a variety of rooms available, so mostly double and single rooms. Something really important for you guys to note is that if you are going to be an applicant for our fall 2022 intake, I would just recommend applying early for residence. If you apply by May 1st of 2022, this is going to guarantee you a place in residence for 2 years. That's a really nice thing to note, just because then logistically you don't have to worry about where you're going to live. That will all be taken care of for you. As a first year in residence, you are required to sign up for the meal plan. That's simply because we want to ensure that you are getting lots of delicious and nutritious food, and that's really going to help you just navigate the complexities of managing your post-secondary schedule for the first time. There is a variety of really healthy food available, and it is diet-friendly, so we offer halal options as well as dairy-free, gluten-free, whatever your particular restrictions are, we can accommodate that. Living on campus is basically one of my favorite things to recommend to students. I personally lived on campus for over 4 years when I was attending university, and it was just one of the best ways I found to meet other students and to really feel like I was involved on my campus. So I did mention that University of Calgary is a very large campus. However, I also implied that we are still able to maintain a small campus feel. The way that we're able to do that is by offering a variety of student supports. So you'll find a support office for almost everything you can think of. If you were to get sick or if you required some form of medical service, we have wellness services here on campus. So things like doctor's offices, pharmacy, chiropractor, dentist, it's all here on campus. So if you ever were in need of one of those services, you don't have to go very far. The Student Success Center is another one that's kind of worth highlighting. I know that for a lot of students that are coming from high school, they can be a little bit worried about that transition into post-secondary. You don't need to worry though, as this team is going to be here as to support that transition. The Student Success Center will host a variety of workshops throughout the year that are going to help give you the skills you need to be successful. So things like writing workshops, learning how to cite papers, learning about time management and study skills. This team's going to be here completely for you in that regard. The International Student Services team is probably one of the main supports that I want to flag to you today. So International Student Services is going to be the team of individuals that's going to have all of the questions, all of the answers to your questions about the study permit. International Student Services will also act as a really good go-to once you arrive on our campus. So they will host a variety of social gatherings throughout the year. So things like sightseeing trips to Banff and Lake Louise. I know that they've gone skating in the past. They've held movie nights and all sorts of those things. The purpose of these events is really to make sure that you feel connected and that you feel that you're part of the University of Calgary campus. We really want to ensure that you feel supported during your time here, and so that's really why we have that specific support. International Student Services also hosts a new student orientation for international students, and this can be a really good thing to check out if you are it's a really good thing to check out regardless, but I think especially if you're kind of worried about coming to University of Calgary, just knowing that we have a specific orientation just for international students, I think that can be quite reassuring for a number of our students. All right, so we are going to transition now into the academic side of things. I am very curious to know what faculty people are interested in applying to. So if you do happen to know, please make sure you fill out the poll. As far as the faculties that we have available, so we have an arts faculty, the Faculty of Science, Schulich School of Engineering, the Haskayne School of Business, Faculty of Kinesiology, the Workland School of Education, Cummings School of Medicine, and the Faculty of Nursing. If you aren't sure yet, that is totally fine. I know that it's a huge decision, so we want to make sure that you are not making that decision lightly. If you have any questions at all, please make sure that you're asking one of us. We're going to run through what the requirements are, as well as how you can learn a bit more about that yourself. But yeah, it looks like based on your poll that we have some students interested in arts, science, and also business. So that's really exciting to see. Those are all going to be really incredible programs. Okay, so transitioning into our academic offerings. As I mentioned earlier in the presentation, University of Calgary has been ranked within the top 250 institutions in the world. We're a very entrepreneurial, experience-focused, and research-heavy university. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities to have some really meaningful hands-on learning opportunities and to really enhance your degree in a number of interesting ways. I mentioned before that we have 8 faculties that students are from high school are welcome to apply into. Within these 8 faculties, there's actually going to be over 250 program combinations. At University of Calgary, you do select a major when you apply, so we don't have like a general first year. You are getting to study what you're interested in from the beginning. Within those 250 programs, there is basically the option to complete embedded certificates. You can choose a minor in your upper years, and we also have the option for students to take combined degrees. So a regular degree here is going to take 4 years to complete if you're studying full-time, whereas if you do a combined degree, that can take 5 years, and essentially you would earn 2 degrees. So if I'm a student who's interested in studying engineering, but I also know that having some business background is going to be very beneficial to me in accomplishing my career goals, it is possible to complete a Bachelor of Engineering combined with a Bachelor of Commerce. So really keep that in mind. If there's some things that you are passionate about and you're equally passionate about those 2 things, we might be able to provide you with the option to do a combined degree. So as I mentioned, 250 program choices. We are a very comprehensive university. On the slides here, you're just going to see some of the different majors that we offer within each of these faculties. I'm just going to encourage you to check out our Explore Programs website. So Cynthia will be linking the Explore Programs website link in the chat. I would just encourage you to bookmark this for later use. You'll basically be able to see all of the different programs that we offer, as well as what the unique admission requirements are. And so please do check that out, browse what we have available, because I can almost guarantee that there's going to be something that piques your interest. If you're looking for other ways to really enhance your degree with us, it should be noted that we also have a really great work integrated learning program. So for the faculties of Arts, Science, Engineering, and Business, we do have co-op and internship opportunities available. If you're not familiar, basically co-op and internship is going to be paid work experience. You don't apply into co-op or internship when you make your when you apply to the University of Calgary, but rather you're going to apply into this program once you're in your second year or higher. It is basically going to be, it's paid work experience, and it's really valuable to students who are looking for, to develop those connections in their career prior to the time of graduation. So really keep that in mind if that's of interest. If you're not in the faculties of Arts, Science, Engineering, or Business, there are other ways for you to experience work and to really get that experience before you graduate. So within some of our faculties, there is practicum opportunities. There's going to be paid research opportunities in all faculties, and just a variety of other ways to really get involved in this manner. All right, so for study abroad, this is another really unique and amazing way to enhance your education here at the University of Calgary. Study abroad opportunities are available within every single program. We actually have opportunities in more than 45 countries. So if you are a student who is not really sure where you want to study, there's so many different amazing places throughout the world, just know that if you do choose University of Calgary, there's going to be access to some really incredible opportunities and destinations that you can go to. Something that is worth noting is that if you do decide to come to University of Calgary, but you want to participate in study abroad, you will pay University of Calgary tuition fees regardless of where you go in the world. I would give the QR code a quick scan if you're interested in learning more, as there is going to be a ton of different opportunities to kind of browse through, see what's available. I know that they have a variety of options. Some will be more budget friendly than others, so just take that in mind. Something else that's just worth noting about this program, again, you don't apply directly into study abroad at the time of application, but you can participate in study abroad once you're in your second year or higher. All right, so Cynthia let me know that there was a question in the chat about the application process. No worries, I'm going to discuss that right now. So yeah, let's just take a quick look at how to actually become a University of Calgary student. So applying to University of Calgary is very simple. If you are a student who's looking to apply to fall 2022, the application is going to open up on October 1st of 2021, so about 2 weeks from now. It's coming really fast, and it's going to stay open until March 1st of 2022. Now, we always encourage students to apply as early as they can within the process, so that you can take advantage of early admissions. Basically, early admissions means that you'll be reviewed based on your grade 11 coursework, as well as any grade 12 that might be available. But for the most of you, when the application opens up in October, you're probably only going to have grade 11 courses available. That's totally fine. If we can issue an offer at the early stage, that would be amazing. And if not, don't worry, because you will be evaluated again once your first semester grades are available. A few things to note about our application. You submit it online through our website. You need to pay an application fee of 145 Canadian dollars to be reviewed, and then you would basically need to provide your transcripts and your proof of English language proficiency. You can make two choices on your application. So essentially, you get to choose a program. The first program should be what you want to study the most, and the second choice program should be something that you are interested in, but that might have a slightly lower admission average. I mentioned that you will be required to present English language proficiency before we can evaluate you. So just a couple of things to note about English language proficiency. There are several different ways that you can satisfy this requirement at the University of Calgary. The first way would be to complete 3 years of high school with English as the primary language of instruction, and that has to be from a curriculum that is accredited to offer American, or from a school that is accredited to offer American, Canadian, or British curriculum. The second way to provide or to meet this requirement, and this is probably the most common way that students in the Middle East will meet this, is to present one of the approved English language tests. So something like an IELTS or a TOEFL. Duolingo is also acceptable. So for IELTS, we're looking for an overall score of 6.5. For TOEFL, we're looking for an overall score of 86. And for Duolingo, we're looking for an overall score of 115. If you were looking to apply into education or nursing, please just make note that we do not accept Duolingo and that the requirements for IELTS and TOEFL are actually a little bit different. You can actually see those noted on the right-hand side of the slide. The third and final way to demonstrate your proficiency would be to complete the Academic Communication Certificate. This is basically going to be a semester-long program that is offered by the University of Calgary. It's really meant for students who are a bit worried about their English language skills. Perhaps you had an IELTS recently and your score was below a 6.5. I would just recommend getting in touch with the Continuing Education Department at the University of Calgary, and they can talk to you about the possibilities of getting registered in one of our English language programs. All right, so once we have everything we need from you, we move you forward to the evaluation stage. So again, just a reminder that in order to evaluate you, you would need to submit the online application, pay the application fee, submit your proof of English language proficiency, and also provide your high school documents. As far as the criteria that we're looking at for admissions, there's going to be different criteria for every university, so just keep that in mind. But at the University of Calgary specifically, we're actually going to be looking for you to present 5 faculty-specific subjects, and we're going to be calculating your average based on those 5 subjects. If your average is competitive for the program that you want to get into, then you will be offered a spot at the university. There's no personal statements required or entrance exams or anything like that. Our evaluation process is really quite simple. But I will just say that if you're applying into the Bachelor of Health Science, Fine Arts, these programs do have supplementary applications. So for the Health Science program, there is a supplementary essay that is required. And for the Fine Arts programs, there's either auditions or portfolios. So please just make sure you reach out to me if you have more questions on those. Again, for the vast majority of our programs, the evaluation is really quite simple. We're looking for the 5 required or the 5 faculty-specific subjects for your program of interest, and we're also calculating your average based on those 5 subjects. So you can see a few different examples on the slide here. I'll just focus in on the Bachelor of Science in Engineering. So for engineering, we're looking for students to present English pre-calculus, calculus, chemistry, physics, and physics or biology. The estimated competitive average for this program is going to be in the mid-80s. So if you are a student who has roughly a mid-80s or higher average, you should be a relatively competitive applicant for this program. I mentioned before that the Explore Programs website is a really great place to check out if you're looking to see what the specific requirements are for a program that's of interest to you. So I would just recommend going there. Cynthia will link that in the chat, and please do bookmark that because it's a really great place to check out. I mentioned before, but I did say that if you apply early, you're probably not going to have your grade 12 complete. No need to worry because we can actually issue you a conditional offer. So conditional offers are going to be based on a combination of grade 11 and or grade 11 and 12 coursework. The reason that offer is going to be conditional is because our admission requirements here at the University of Calgary are going to be for the grade 12 level. So just going back for a second, you can see all of these required courses here. By the end of your school year, we would need to see these at the grade 12 level. But when we issue you a conditional offer, those can be a little bit lower. Conditional offers are going to be finalized based on you maintaining your admission average, completing your required courses, graduating from high school, and then of course submitting any outstanding documents and things like that that we might need. So just a bit of a brief overview of our application process once again. Right now, we're kind of in a stage where it's a couple weeks before the application closes, so it's a really good idea just to do some research and see what we have available. Reach out and ask any questions that you might have about different programs. Maybe see if there is a faculty information night that's being held so you can get more information and see if the program is right for you. That's a really good idea to be starting right now. The application opens up on October 1st, so at that time you can log into our website and fill that in there. You will have until March 15th to provide all of the documents that we need to evaluate you, so things like your high school transcripts and your proof of English language proficiency. But I would really encourage you to not wait to do those things. The sooner we have those documents, the sooner we'll be able to evaluate you. Once you've applied for admissions, you're also going to be able to apply for scholarships. So please make sure that you check your student center. You will see 2 different applications, which I will walk through in a second. And those are going to be due by December 1st and March 1st. Once you've applied, you can use your student center to monitor the progress of your application. If you're issued an offer, normally you have to accept that offer and pay an admission deposit by March or by May 1st, but sometimes that can be a little bit different. So make sure you just check the terms of your offer letter. And then after that, you're basically going to be registering for courses and things like that and on your way to becoming one of our students. So looking at the awards program, I know that for international students, one of the main questions I get is actually specifically about awards and whether you were eligible to apply. International students are absolutely eligible to apply for awards. We give away over $17 million every year, and so it's definitely worth applying just to see what you might be eligible for. There are a few different categories of awards to be aware of. So automatic admission awards. These are going to be ones that you do not need to apply for in order to be evaluated. There's 2 automatic admission awards. So the first one I'll tell you about is the President Admission Scholarship. This is an award that is valued at 5,000 Canadian dollars, and it is available to any entering first-year student with an admission average of 95% or greater. The other automatic admission award that I'll let you know about is our International Baccalaureate Entrance Scholarship. So if there's any IB students here, you should just note that if you have an IB score of 35 or greater, we can actually award you $2,000. The President Admission Scholarship and the IB Entrance Award are stackable, so that's something nice to note. For the President Admission Scholarship, that would be an overall score of 40. So if that is you, you'd actually be looking at an automatic admission award of $7,000. The rest of our scholarships you do need to submit applications for, but we make it really simple in that we're looking for students to just submit 2 applications, and then they can be considered for hundreds of different awards. So Prestige Awards is going to be an application that is due December 1st, so it's due quite a bit earlier than everything else. This is where all of the high monetary awards are housed. So we have awards that are valued at around $20,000, and some of them are renewable for up to 4 years. Prestige awards are going to be awards based on academic merit, so they're really great for our high achieving students to apply here. But of course, everyone is welcome. You never know how your application could rank against another student, so please just apply and we will consider you if you are eligible. The other application that you are welcome to submit is the High School Entrance Awards. So High School Entrance Awards is where we can consider things like your extracurriculars, as well as your financial need. These scholarships have a variety of criteria. So as you can see from the slide, sometimes the criteria is kind of funny. There is a scholarship that is based on academics, but it's also awarded to the student who lives the farthest away from home. So as an international applicant, you might be someone who's eligible for something like this. As a reminder, so for automatic admission awards, you do not need to apply for those, but for Prestige Awards and High School Entrance Awards, you need to make sure that you submit those 2 applications. Submitting those will qualify you for hundreds of different awards, and the awards team will do a really thorough job and make sure that they are considering you for everything that you might be eligible for. Prestige Awards is going to be due on December 1st, and then the High School Entrance Awards application is due on March 1st. The Prestige Awards application does require you to do some essays. There's maybe an interview component or 2. So just making sure you give yourself enough time to go through all of those steps. The high school entrance awards is going to be a very simple application. There's just a number of questions that are asked, so that one's a lot faster. If scholarships are of interest and you want to make sure that you have as much of an opportunity to get some of this money as possible, I would just recommend that you also research external awards. So external awards are going to be awards that are offered through various institutions and organizations around the world. University of Calgary doesn't really have anything to do with these awards, but we know that there's money out there and that is available. So please make sure that you're doing some research and seeing what else you can get towards your education. With money in the mind, let's just talk briefly about the tuition fees and things like that that you can expect to pay at the University of Calgary. I would encourage you to scan the QR code on the left-hand side of the slide. This will take you to our undergraduate student cost estimator, and you can see what the fees are specifically for the program that you're interested in. Just keeping in mind that this is an estimate of what you can probably expect to pay. The fees are subject to change slightly from year to year, though. On average, our international students are going to pay around 23,000 Canadian dollars for their tuition. That's around 16,600 in US dollars, if that is more familiar to you. On top of the tuition, we do encourage students to budget around $10,000 for their living accommodations, for food, and for any other miscellaneous expenses that you might incur during your time with us. So an estimate of around $33,000 per year for tuition and living. Of course, I understand this is an investment in your future, so it's definitely worth considering all of these finances and things like that in advance. You might want to consider getting some part-time work just to help offset those costs so that you have some money saved. Make sure you apply for scholarships. That's going to be a really big step in helping you to finance your education. While I do understand that this is an investment in your future, it's just worth noting that if you're comparing University of Calgary tuition to other places in Canada or in the United States, our tuition is going to be relatively affordable by comparison. So just keeping that in mind. Okay, so Cynthia mentioned, she just messaged me saying that there was a question about recommendation letters and wondering whether they're necessary for awards. The answer is that I don't know specifically. So for awards applications, it's kind of facilitated by a different team. The application is going to be open on October 1st, though, so I would just recommend that you apply early and get that application in, and then you'll be able to see everything that the Prestige Awards application entails. So there might be a recommendation letter that is required, but you'll have a few months where you can sort out those details. If you do need to know in advance, I would say that you could email the awards team, but it also might just be worth waiting. I think that the questions that are asked each year do change slightly, and they don't typically release any of that information in advance, so just waiting until October 1st to see what you have to provide. All right, so I'm almost done. I really appreciate everyone's attention and for being here, but I just wanted to highlight a couple of important dates so that you are ready and prepared to apply once our application opens. So again, if you are looking to apply for fall 2022, the application is going to open up on October 1st of this year, so in just about 2 weeks, and it's going to stay open until March 1st of 2022. Now you'll have until March 15th to provide your documents, but again, please just provide those as soon as you can. If you provide them on March 15th, that's fine, but it just really prevents your application from moving forward. And we really want to ensure that we can issue you a conditional offer much earlier in the process. The reason for that being is that our programs are competitive, space does fill up, so that's one huge advantage of applying early. And then as international students, you will most likely need to apply for a study permit. And so just keeping in mind that that can also take time. So if you're able to do that earlier in the cycle, that's really beneficial to you. From an awards perspective, a reminder that both applications, so for Prestige Awards and High School Entrance Awards, those are going to open up on October 1st as well. The deadline for Prestige Awards is December 1st, and you'll have until December 15th to provide the documents for that application. The deadline for High School Entrance Awards is going to be March 1st, so it's a little bit later on, but just making sure that you get that in as early as you can, just so that we have the possibility of reviewing you for awards a lot sooner. The last date that I'll just mention as being important for our current grade 12 students is going to be June 30th. So June 30th is the deadline for you completing your high school coursework. And we basically need your final documents and transcripts to be sent from your school or the appropriate exam board between August 1st and August 30th. Okay, so that is essentially everything I have to say about University of Calgary. I feel like there are a million good reasons why you should choose University of Calgary, but just to give you the top 5, the number 1 being excellence in academics. Again, we have been ranked within the top 250 institutions in the world. We have 250 programs that we offer, so very comprehensive and very high quality experiences instruction that you will experience here. Number 2, research opportunities. So University of Calgary is in the top 6 for Canadian research universities. Students get incredible access to research opportunities as well as world-class professors who are engaging in very timely and relevant research. Number 3, a caring community. We do our absolute best to provide an incredible student experience as well as a variety of student support. So you can really expect to find that here. Number 4, the opportunity to earn while you learn. Co-ops and internships are hugely popular here at University of Calgary, and we do our best to connect students with opportunities that are going to be really meaningful, as well as very likely to provide them with access to different jobs once they graduate. And number 5, an adventurous lifestyle. So we are located only an hour away from those world-famous Rocky Mountains, and then within the city there is tons of opportunity for just having fun and exploring whatever is of interest to you. So just keeping in mind, it's really a huge advantage to be in a wonderful city and close to a number of bucket list destinations that can be a huge advantage to you as you're completing your studies. All right, so we will have some time for questions if there is any. I know that you have been asking Cynthia in the chat, but I will address some of the questions that maybe weren't answered or if there's any extras. But if you did want to connect with me after today's presentation, please know that you can email me at any time. My WhatsApp number is on the slide. My email is on the slide, so middleeast.recruiter@ucalgary.ca. I do also take one-on-one appointments with students, so if you have more specific questions about an application, if you're wondering about the specifics of a program or something about a scholarship, please feel free just to send me an email, and then I will send you the link to book the one-on-one meeting. Okay, the other thing that I wanted to mention that I think I forgot to say before is that if you are interested in applying to University of Calgary and you kind of wanted some hands-on materials to take away with you today, in the file section you will find the International Student Viewbook linked there, and you'll also see an application walkthrough guide. So please feel free to download both of those. They can be really great resources as you, wanting to maybe explore a bit more about what we offer. The last thing I'll note before we get into questions is just that we have an open house coming up on October 2nd. So open house is a really great chance just to learn even more about University of Calgary. There will be tours going on. So obviously everything is going to be virtual this year. But so there'll be virtual tours, there's going to be a faculty fair, and there's also going to be some discovery sessions. So you can learn a lot more in depth about what our university offers, as well as maybe get specific details about the program that you're interested in. If you do want to sign up, please just scan the QR code on the screen. This event is going to be held October 2nd, 2021 from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and that is Mountain Standard Time. So please make sure that you convert the time to your appropriate time zone. One last slide before we get to questions, sorry, I promise. Scan this QR code too if you wanted to see any other upcoming events that we have other than open house. Again, I noted that there's going to be some faculty-specific information nights as well as maybe webinars for things like awards. So keep an eye out for those. All right, so I will just hop into the chat. I know that Cynthia mentioned that someone is asking what our acceptance rate is like. So acceptance rate is not necessarily a term that is used by Canadian institutions. It's not a rate that we use at the University of Calgary. That's more of an American term. The thing that we always communicate to students is that admissions at University of Calgary is competitive. And so we are always going to accept the students who have the highest admission averages. The number of students that we accept changes slightly from year to year. We don't have quotas or anything like that, so we're not trying to admit a certain number of domestic students and a certain number of international students. We're always going to take the students who have the most competitive admission averages. Okay. Okay, so another question, where exactly do we have to submit the necessary documents? So a great question. So basically, you're going to apply for admission through our website. So maybe, Cynthia, you wouldn't mind just sharing the link to that, just pinning it to the top. Again, that'll open up on October 1st. And so at that time, you can submit the link or submit the application through the website. Once you've applied for admission, you're going to get access to a student center. So this is going to be my.ucalgary.ca, but don't worry, you'll get an email with instructions on how to access that once you've submitted the application. In your student center, this is basically where you can monitor the progress of your application. And it's also where you're going to see a to-do list that will highlight all of the different things we're asking you to do for your application. So on the to-do list, you'll see English language proficiency and you'll see high school transcripts. You simply need to click on that and you're going to be able to upload those documents directly. Okay, so another question. So when applying, they ask for a UCID and essential authentication service. Do we need to use that for the application? So I did mention that there is a step-by-step guide in the file section, so you can find that there. Please just download that. That's going to be really helpful to you. But as far as the UCID, you won't get a UCID until you've applied for admission. You would need to make an EID, so there should be instructions there. But for the UCID, it will prompt you to put one in, but directly underneath of that, you can actually check off a box that says, I don't have a UCID and I want to proceed with as a guest. And that's going to allow you to make the application without the UCID. Okay. Is there any other questions? It looks like we're probably good. As a bit of a wrap up, I am going to play one last video. This video gets me really excited to just experience Calgary and to see other students experience Calgary for the first time. But if you have any other questions, please just put those in the chat and I'll spend a couple more minutes addressing those at the very end. If you did want to get going, no pressure to stay any longer. I really do appreciate your time though. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful day.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow is not just an idea or a dream.
It's the promise of a new day and a better world. Tomorrow belongs to the changemakers and the risk takers, the passionate, the daring, and the bold.
This is our tomorrow. All of us, together.
This is where and how we live, shaped by our community, our neighbors, our friends, and our rivals.
Shaped by those who challenge us to think bigger, move faster, and achieve more. By those who came before us and fashioned this university from sheer determination.
We're pioneers at heart, innovators by necessity, and community builders because, well, we're from Calgary, where that legendary can-do spirit has blossomed into a will-do commitment.
And like Calgary, this university attracts people from around the world with ambitious dreams and the courage to fulfill them.
We educate students to become community builders. We conduct research that changes the world. And we enhance the intellectual, social, and cultural landscape of our region.
It's true. Our campuses draw disruptors, instigators, and challengers of convention. Those who seek and share answers to society's greatest challenges. Because tomorrow demands global attention to challenges we can only begin to imagine.
Tomorrow our students are preparing for now, and our researchers are striving to understand.
A tomorrow we're ready to face, fueled by the energy and passion of our students, postdoctoral scholars, faculty, staff, alumni, donors, and cherished friends.
By discovering and creating new ideas that have a meaningful impact on the world around us, we can improve our world and deliver the promise of a new tomorrow together.
All right, so that is it from us. I do see one final. Oh, I think Cynthia answered it. There was just the question about the EID, and I would echo what she says, just to wait for the application to open, just in case there's any complications. Something else that I'll say about the application is that it's best to use Google Chrome. And if you have any issues, you can always email me, but do make sure that you take a look at the application walkthrough guide. And sometimes it's best just to close it and come back to it. Once in a while, it can be a little bit finicky, but you should be fine. If there is no other questions, please have an amazing day. If you have any other questions or you think of something later, you can email me at middleeast.recruiter@ucalgary.ca, and I'd be more than happy to connect with you then. But I will hopefully see you or hear from you all soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.